Aloha all, and welcome back to Let's Play Sly 2 Band of Thieves. I'm Paper Mario Guy, and in this episode we're going to be starting up He Who Tames the Iron Horse, which is episode 6 of this fantastic game, so let's get started.
Following the trail of spice shipments, we made our way up to Nunavut Bay, Canada, the secret hub of Jean Bison's shipping empire. As a young man, he trekked across Canada to strike it rich during the gold rush of 1852. An avid prospector, he took some chances and ended up buried alive in an avalanche. Miraculously, the quick freeze kept him alive, and 120 years later, thanks to global warming, he thawed out. A product of his time, he dreams of taming the wild north, damming every river and chopping down all the trees, with progress delivered at the sharp end of an axe. Shipping spice for the Claw Gang proved a lucrative way to bankroll his one-man war against nature. And yet, I have to feel a little sorry for him. He's just a normal guy from the 1850s. Back in his day, he'd be a hero, but today, he's a villain. Either way, that man's got more than his fair share of the clockwork parts. What a low-tech guy like Jean Bison is doing with robot parts is a mystery. I almost don't want to know. But as always, it's only a matter of time before I find out.
So here we are embarking on my favorite segment of the game. Chapters 6 and 7 are bar none my favorite areas of the game, with probably my favorite music, even though it may seem like it's kind of boring and repetitive. I don't know, I just feel like it sets the mood great, and yeah, I just really absolutely adore this particular area, and I will explain why as I go through, and we'll also be talking about a bunch of different things. But obviously, we have to start out like we do normally with every other area, and that is by collecting information on the surrounding area. So, I would like to get to a point where I can actually, you know, show an overview of this map and why I like it so much. I think it's a fantastic map, and it's a really easy to follow and understand area, which is one of the reasons I like it so much. And there's just, I don't know, there's a lot to be enjoyed when it comes to the wonderful area of Canada. But first, we have to, well, right now, I'm actually in the wrong area. I need to be over there a little bit. But, you know, a lot of the same things apply as they did before, you know, in terms of enemies and you know, structure, but there's a lot to be had in this section.
That cabin may seem rustic, but don't be fooled. It's the control center for Jean Bison's trade empire. Sneak inside and raid his files. You're sure to find out where he keeps his clockwork parts.
Ransacking his files doesn't sound hard. Now, climbing up a sheer rock wall, that'll be a challenge.
You're in luck. Before Jean Bison took over, this used to be a popular destination for rock climbers. Some of their old wall hooks are still around.
I'm guessing I just jump and hit the circle button to latch on.
That's right. And remember to lean back before you spring off the hook. You'll get more altitude.
Thanks for the tip. I'll give it a try.
Is it me, or did Bentley say altitude very funny? He, like, put emphasis on, like, the owl. I don't know. But, climbing this wall really isn't as difficult as Sly made it out to be. But, He Who Tames the Iron Horse is, oh man, I don't know, there's just so much to be talked about. But first, we have reconnaissance.
Jackpot, Sly. That's Jean Bison.
Looks like he didn't notice me come in.
Just stay out of sight and take a picture of each of his trade routes. They should narrow our search for his share of the clockwork parts.
All right, I'm on it.
Hello, Arpeggio here.
Oh, it's Arpeggio.
Salutations, Mr. Arpeggio.
The one person that we
Don't
forgot
let that
about.
Shoot the breeze.
Of course, Yes, for you, chum, always. Although must we communicate through that dreadful speakerphone?
Yeah, I can think better while my legs move. Pumps blood to your brain.
Okay, so I don't know whether or not to stay quiet for this section or to talk, because Arpeggio and Jean Bison are having a conversation. So I'm going to stay quiet, let you listen to what they're talking about while I take the pictures.
Underway. My blimp should arrive at the end of the week.
Bullseye. For second, when you gonna give me a look-see at that clockwork brain of yours? I'd sure like to buy it off you.
Bison, you covetous troglodyte. You already got the lion's share of the parts. Would you take my meager portion of the robotic bird for your own and strip me of all my earthly pleasures?
Sly, did you hear that? Bison's hidden the Iron Horse blueprints in his trophy bass. Head for the fish on top of the fireplace and steal those plans. Excellent! Now get out of that cabin before you're spotted.
Sounds like you're making capital use of your share of the robotic loot. But for now, the clockwork brain stays with me on the blimp. Although, when I arrive to pick up the Northern Lights battery, I might be persuaded to give you a peek.
That'll do fine. By the way, you ready to giddy up into Perry for the final hoedown?
Yes, the blimp's hypnotist wavelengths conform to the specs drawn up by the Contessa, and Dimitri, before his unfashionable capture, did a bang-up job of distributing spice through his nightclub.
Sounds like all you're missing is some Northern Light electricity.
You're correct, sir. Yours is the final piece to the puzzle, the missing link. Once the battery is aboard, nothing will stand in the Claw Gang's way. Paris will be ours.
Yeah, okay. So, I guess...
Well, I'm sure they had tons of interesting things to talk about over that phone, and I, stuck around for a little bit longer just so you could kind of hear. But that basically explained how Jean Bison is actually connected very easily to the rest of the game. Because I know that in the last episode, I kind of mentioned, everything from, I'd say, episode 2 to episode 5 was very interconnected. A lot of it had to do with each other, and, it flowed without question. And I was kind of, commenting on the fact that I wasn't sure necessarily how well they were going to be able to, successfully transfer. And basically, I will quickly and at the best of my abilities try to summarize the plan.
Yep, just like I thought. Get to the fish above the mantle and steal those blueprints.
Alright, sorry, I had to take a drink of water.
I've heard tell from the boys at Ponderosa Cabin there's someone been in my hidden blueprints. Everyone stay sharp. This ain't no summer camp. I don't pay you boys to lollygag while there's a thief in these parts.
Alright, so Jean Bison is putting all of his people on notice, but that doesn't really, bother me all that much, because they're really easy to get by. And now we're just going to get the second blueprint, and we have to get one more blueprint, and then our reconnaissance is pretty much finished. I don't know why it shoots me all the way over there, though, but I'm glad that I was able to counter it this time, because maneuvering up on these beams is much easier than, trying to sneak around these people. But basically, my summary of how everything is interconnected in this game is... And if you've been following the story, I apologize, because you probably know, because it's not too complicated, but you might be able to you might get lost along the way. There's a bunch of different little side things, especially in chapters 4 and 5, with Sly and Bentley getting captured and all. But basically, the Claw Gang's objective, as of this, point, is to simply take over Paris and make it a city of their own. And, obviously Paris would be a very valuable city for, any crime organization. But the way that they went about doing it is Dimitri, is a very popular connoisseur of the fine arts and was able to successfully transport, spice and get the whole city eating spice. And Rajan obviously was the spice producer who would send his spices to Jean Bison, who would be able to distribute it, all over the place, including, Paris. So basically, Dimitri was like the or Jean Bison's like the delivery boy, you know. Rajan was the manufacturer, and how would you describe Dimitri? He is I'd almost say like the unwilling trigger, you know. Well, not unwilling, but he was kind of like the method, the way in which they could distribute the spice, and then that only leads me. That only leads me to one, explanation, and that is the fact that, oh, can I sneak around you? Ah, no, I can't. Alright, it's not a big deal. If you get caught, it's not like, you're gonna fail the mission or anything. You just gotta beat the crap out of everybody. But that's basically how it is, and their object is to, with the Northern Lights battery, which, Arpeggio is trying to get from Mr. Jean Bison, with the Northern Lights battery, that will basically have the same effect that that will have that is basically like the thing that the Contessa used to, put people under hypnosis, because the light and all that from the Northern Light battery will magnify the hypnosis, and they'll have Paris under complete control. So that's a brief summary. I may not have done it, all that much justice, but that was a very layman's way to explain, the story thus far, and kind of how Jean Bison is connected. And I think that's really good, if you ask me.
Armed with all 3 blueprints, we should be able to isolate and track the Iron Horse trains through that satellite dish.
Top of the mountain, huh? Shouldn't take long.
Alright, so we still have a tad bit more, reconnaissance work, but not too much. And unfortunately, I've already screwed up and gotten a clue, which is not something that I wanted to do, but, it happens, and there's not much I can do about it at this point, but move on. I had a feeling that was going to happen, too, though. Just unfortunate that my hunch was right. So now we have to go all the way to the top. But Jean Bison's area of Canada is my favorite, like I said. And for a few reasons. I mean, one, I just really like, Jean Bison himself. I think he's a pretty interesting character, and he fits into the Claw Gang, pretty well. In the sense that, like, his mind frame is perfect for them. And it, as I said, earlier, it seems as though Arpeggio is definitely the brains of this organization, and he's the one with, the master plan. And I feel like Rajan was probably, like, second in command, like he was the next person who knew what was going on. But, ooh, don't want to get, attacked by a hawk. But first, let's do whatever the satellite wants us to do.
Great! We've got total access to the train's GPS system. It's all on my computer. Head back to the safe house. I'll crunch some numbers and give you and Murray the rundown.
Alright, well, actually, I think I have a cutscene, so I will continue my discussion next time.
Thanks to Sly's efforts, we now know the location of all 3 of the local clockwork parts. 2 lugs and a stomach. Jean Bison has grafted each piece to the engine in one of his Iron Horse trains. This improvement allows the trains to run all night and all day. We won't have the luxury of sneaking in while they're stopped. While they're in motion, the only way aboard is through a hatch on the caboose roof, which unfortunately has been locked down. These need to go. First, collect the spice gas from the balloons above town, and then land on the back of the caboose to blow off the locks. Once the way is cleared, I'll suit up and jump into Iron Horse number 1 while it passes near town. With some luck, we'll have the first clockwork lug in a few hours.
So, that sounds like a wonderful plan. I'm sorry about my throat. You'll probably hear me clearing it a bit. But, actually, we're only at 14 minutes, so I'm going to ascend back up to the top of that mountain and get that piece of fine art while I kind of briefly cover, you know, or just because I want to go back up there and kind of show you the whole area. I know I said that earlier, and I didn't get the opportunity to because I just decided to, you know, finish the mission. But I want to do that, and then also, of course, get that piece of fine art, and then we can end the episode. Because, you know, terms of style and everything, you know, I think they have Canada really right. And I don't know, it's one of the reasons why I'm such a fan of this particular area. Alright, now we need to climb this quickly so we don't get shot. A note, stay away from the trains. The trains will kill you instantly. There is really no leeway with that. If you get hit by the train, you're just going to die. Not that that's a big problem. Dying in this game really doesn't do anything, but it's not something that you necessarily want to do, so just try to avoid it. But here's a large overview. You can't go into those caves because those caves, I don't know, they have the electric fences. But, I mean, you can kind of see everything centers around this mountain. So if you can, like, you know, just kind of scope everything out and see how things are in proportion to the mountain, it's really easy to navigate this area, and that's also one of my favorite areas, you know, because it can be very confusing if you don't know. But, I mean, you basically have 4 key points. You have your headquarters, you have one cabin, you have a second cabin, and then you have a third cabin. And everything is in relation to that. And it just, I don't know, it makes things easy. So, I quite enjoy that. But now, we're going to jump off the mountain, and we're going to skydive as far down as we can, you know, so we can get there quickly. The parachute does wonders for traveling quickly. Alright, and now it's just a straight shot right to there. And our first fine art is collected, which is wonderful. Because we are pretty behind in terms of pickpocketing and, you know, upgrades and stuff like that. But I promise I will get them all. Yeah, we'll buy this because that's really good. And then, you know, we'll assess what it is. But what I just bought, Silent Obliteration, basically it makes that sneak move even better because now it's gonna be quiet. And you don't actually have to apply that to a button, which is also very useful. But that does it for part 1 of episode number 6. Be sure to subscribe and check back in for more of Sly 2 Bandit Thieves. I'm Paper Mario Guy. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time.